Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Student Section, Episode 3. I'm Jalen Long, and I'm joined by Zander Collins, Calvin DeLude, and Austin McConnell. In today's show, we'll be covering the biggest headlines in college football, the NFL, the NBA, NASCAR, and so much more. So stay tuned, and welcome back to the Student Section. We're heading into Week 9 of the college football season, and this season has been a crazy one. Last week, James Franklin was fired, and now Billy Napier is being fired. Fellas, who do we believe is more to blame for Penn State's struggles, Franklin or the players?
Yeah, I think you got to place the blame on both of them just a little bit, right? Because there's only so much the coach can do. He can't play for the players. They got to do that themselves. But he also comes up with the schemes. He oversees everything. So I think Drew Aller has kind of struggled. I don't think he's the top-tier quarterback that everyone has kind of made him out to be. Obviously sucks seeing his injury go down despite whatever season he was having. But I'm going to go with James Franklin as my answer just because he's had so many good teams. They've been 10-2 every year or 11-1. And I think last year was kind of the nail in the coffin where he kind of they had the easiest path through the playoffs. They had Boise State and SMU in their first two games and then had it against Notre Dame, threw a pick, ultimately choked. So it was just like some play calling sometimes. I just don't like what I see out of it. So I'm going to go with James Franklin.
I'm going to go the exact opposite route. I'm going to take the players here. Drew Aller deciding to stay another year, it's probably one of the worst decisions he could ever make. And like you said, very unfortunate that he went down because he was a talented player in college football last year, and Penn State was a fun team to watch. But I just think that a lot of teams make that mistake nowadays where they think that a coaching change will fix everything. And I think that James Franklin has built a culture there at Penn State that players look for. And now that they don't have that anymore, I think they're going to see a big dip in success. And I think it's going to take a little while for them to be an elite program in college football again.
I'm going to have to agree with Calvin because, like you said, Austin, the coach is only so much to blame because, if we're honest, Drew Aller has been more of a demon in the Instagram DMs than he has been on the field. I mean, we all saw that. But at the end of the day, like you said, he's led them to pretty good finishes every year in the regular season. And to a certain point, yes, he's overseeing the plays and stuff, but the players have got to execute. And like we said, the players have just had kind of a disappointing season and not living up to expectations. And, I mean, it's no doubt that James Franklin is a great football mind. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had him on College Game Day right after he was fired. So I think he's a great coach. I think that the situation's been a little bit difficult for him, and I'm going to have to put the blame on the players.
Yeah, and I see where your points are coming from, but I kind of want to just go back to kind of what you just said. He was at Vanderbilt, and they weren't, Penn State level great, but he's a very good football mind. He is one heck of a recruiter. I don't think I've seen anyone recruit as well as he can, but there's a lot of times he gets out-coached in big games, specifically like Ohio State or Michigan, those big top-tier Big Ten teams. They just couldn't seem to beat them every year. So that's kind of where my understanding is, where it's just like he just gets out-coached a little too much.
That's fair.
Austin, I'm disagreeing with you. Calvin and Zander, I'm right with you. I'm going to have to say the players. James Franklin brought the Nittany Lions back to relevancy. He's done so much for the program, and I think the lack of success is on the players. Drew Aller is drastically overrated, and I believe it is quite the task to ask the coach to overcome poor quarterback play. Now over to South Carolina football. Our season has not went the way we would have liked, which leads me to ask, is Beamer on the hot seat?
Is Beamer on the hot seat? I think the question that needs to be asked is Beamer going to leave? I don't think South Carolina is going to fire Shane Beamer. You could put a lot of the blame on him. He was the one to pick Mike Shula to run this offense. He has made some questionable decisions coaching-wise, but I think that he's continuously showing that he does care about this program and that he's trying to make changes. But I think really everything I've been hearing for the past week is he's getting a lot of pressure from Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech is heavily pursuing him to live after his father when he coached there. So I'm fully expecting that to heat up during the offseason. And I think the bigger question is, will Shane Beamer leave? I hope he doesn't. If he did, I wouldn't necessarily blame him, but I would be very angry about it.
I'm going to kind of step on y'all's toes here and jump in. I've heard a lot for a long time that he loves being in Columbia and he wants to raise his kids here. He loves that his family is here. But you are right, Virginia Tech, his alma mater, where he played, and his dad, obviously, with his history. I think Virginia Tech is a threat. I don't think Shane's just going to get up and leave and just kind of leave after one bad season, right? Obviously, it's, you're ranked number 10 at one point, beat Virginia Tech this season, but, now you're 3-4, very frustrating, and it's just, you can tell he cares about not only this program, but the city and the community, and he's always talking to people, and I was at his press conference yesterday, so I could just see the passion up close. Yeah, I could see his passion up close, where he just wants to make this program better, and like you said, putting the blame on himself is a true show of character. But I don't think he's just going to drop everything and leave after one bad year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And Shane Beamer is a great guy. He's proven that he cares about this program. But sometimes just there's an offer on the table, you can't say no to it. And I think Virginia Tech is trying to figure out what that offer is.
And that's fair. It depends what the check says, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's the ultimate deciding factor.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that if he hadn't gone to Virginia Tech, it wouldn't be an intriguing offer at all. Why would you go to a struggling ACC program when you're at an SEC program that gets a crazy amount of funding? But I think also, to the average fan that's looking at the box scores and stuff like that, it might be a hot seat for Shane Beamer. But if you look at his influence on, like you were saying with James Franklin, his recruiting and the locker room, there is not another coach that could have a grasp as tight on these guys as him. And I think last season when they signed him to that really large contract, it's going to be really difficult for him to get out of that. And I think that with the new athletic director, Jeremiah Donati, him and Don Staley are the faces of our school, of our athletics programs. And I don't think that they make a change like that just after one season when the expectations were, to be frank, very high for what this program is able to achieve. And if I'm making that decision, I'm sticking with Shane Beamer all day.
You guys have some great points. To me, his seat may not be hot, but I do believe it could be lukewarm. The team finished strong last season, almost making the college football playoffs. After this strong ending to the 2024 season, the Gamecocks became the 9th most hyped up team in college football prior to the start of this season. The team has not lived up to the hype, and enough changes have not been made. Depending on how this season plays out, I do believe Beamer's spot could be in some sort of danger. That's it for college football talk. Let's send it over to Calvin for $7 Dogs.
Hello, folks. Welcome to $7 Dogs, the MLB segment that finally has a name. The stage is set for the 2025 World Series as the Los Angeles Dodgers seek a second straight championship against the Toronto Blue Jays, who look to win their first since they won back-to-back in '92 and '93. I know last week I had the Mariners winning this series in a gentleman's sweep, and I could not have been more wrong. If you asked me prior to the ALCS, I would have told you the Blue Jays would be going to the World Series. Then they lost Game 1 and Game 2, and I folded on that idea. But the Blue Jays showed me I should have trusted my gut as they climbed down from trailing 2-0 and forced a Game 7. And in Game 7, George Springer had one of the most legendary postseason home runs of all time, with a 3-run shot in the 7th to take the lead 4-3, which would end up being the final score of the game. Now, the big question surrounding this Blue Jay squad: can they match up with the Los Angeles Dodgers? I think they've proven offensively they can. Vladimir Guerrero is balling out for this team with 6 homers this postseason, and George Springer continues to show his comfortability in October. But they'll be facing their toughest pitching opponents yet. The Dodger rotation is maybe one of the best we've ever seen. And we can't talk about the Dodgers without mentioning Shohei Ohtani having maybe the greatest single game performance by an athlete in the history of sports. With the Dodgers up 3-0 in Game 4 of the NLCS, Ohtani hit 3 home runs and drew a walk to send his team back to the World Series. Now, if that isn't impressive enough, he also pitched 6 innings of 2-hit ball and struck out 10 Brewers. It is Ohtani's world, and we are just living in it. I think the biggest key for the Blue Jays, if they want to beat this red-hot LA squad, is winning Game 1. I know it sounds so simple, but the guys from the Great White North had to pull out every play and player in the playbook to squeak out a series win. But the Dodgers are too dominant to let them get back in a series they have a hold of. You saw them sweep the wild card and the NLCS. And if the Blue Jays get down early, I don't see them crawling their way back again. The pieces are set for an incredible World Series that kicks off Friday, and I can't wait to talk about it more next week on $7 Dogs. Now, over to Zander Collins for Full Court Press.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Full Court Press, the student section's premier basketball segment. I'm Zander Collins, and I know that you're used to hearing me talk about soccer, but I thought I'd make an exception to the NBA season starting up this week, and because I know ball. In today's episode, I'll be making some NBA regular season award predictions, so let's take to the court. Welcome to the Full Court Press. We start with the Most Valuable Player Award. My pick for this year's MVP is Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. He is comfortably the best player in the world and in my opinion, should have won it last year. He put up historic numbers, including a 30-point triple-double with a subpar supporting casts. With an addition of Cam Johnson and Jonas Valanciunas, the Denver Nuggets are going to be even better. Give this man his fourth award. Defensive Player of the Year is also an obvious answer. Victor Wembanyama will finally get his lengthy pause on the award after missing out on the award last season. He has all the tools and is already a monster on the defensive side of the ball. Couple those tools with workouts with Hakeem Olajuwon, and the league has a real problem. No amount of separation off the dribble will make you safe from Wemby's clutches. Most improved player is where predictions get a little bit difficult, so I'm going to take a long shot and say that we see Jabari Smith Jr. take home this award. He has been putting in a lot of work with Kevin Durant since he joined the team, and I think he'll get a lot more looks as KD gets a lot more defensive attention. Many think that his teammate Amen Thompson will take home the award, but I don't think that there's much for him to improve on, whereas Smith hasn't lived up to his third overall pick potential just yet. My sixth man of the year will be Naz Reid. He's won it once before, and I think he's going to ball out on his new $125 million contract. Reid is the best player in the NBA that doesn't start, and I think that he should be a starter in Minnesota. It's just unfortunate that he has to fight for minutes with a two-time All-Star and a four-time Defensive Player of the Year. Naz Reid for Sixth Man of the Year. Make your t-shirts. Rookie of the Year also seems to have an obvious answer in Cooper Flagg, but I don't think that he is going to be that this year. I don't think he'll have as big of a role as many people will think in Dallas, and I think he'll be more of a glue guy. And that's why my pick for the 2026 Rookie of the Year is VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. This guy is a monster. He balled out in preseason and in the summer league, and I think he'll see a lot of time on the court with the 76ers always having injury troubles. VJ is hungry, and I think that he will feast in Philadelphia. That'll do it for the inaugural episode of the Full Court Press. I'm Zander Collins, and I'll see you on the court next week. I'm going to send it over now to Calvin and Jalen for the 2-minute drill.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2-minute drill with Calvin DeLude and Jalen Long. Another exciting week of football, and as we're nearing the halfway point of the regular season, MVP talks are starting to heat up, Jalen. A lot of people had Baker Mayfield as their MVP frontrunner, but after a disappointing outing against Detroit on Monday Night Football, do you still have him as the winner at the end of the season, or are you going with someone else?
I do not have Baker as my MVP. My MVP currently has to be Drake May of my New England Patriots. He has 1,744 passing yards, 14 total touchdowns, to only 3 turnovers, and the team is 5-2, leading the AFC East, second in the AFC. What stands out to me, though, is the completion percentage. May leads the league with a 75.2 completion percentage. Totally unreal, especially considering he's only in his second year. Who is your current MVP, Cal?
Well, Jalen, I'm expecting you to get some backlash for this take, but I just simply don't care. And I don't think this player is going to win the MVP, but I think he should win the MVP. My MVP for the 2025 season is Jonathan Taylor. We have not had a non-quarterback MVP since Adrian Peterson in 2012, and I'm sick and tired of it. Peterson finished his MVP season with 12 total touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor has 12 in only 7 games. Everyone's pointing to Daniel Jones as the reason the Colts have been so successful this season, but I think the biggest reason is Jonathan Taylor. If you want a crazy stat, Taylor has 3 games with 3 or more touchdowns this season. The New York Jets only have 2. If you watch his game, he is doing everything right. Downhill running, making defenders miss, breaking tackles. He's effective in the pass game. He is having a textbook season, and it might go down as one of the best seasons for a halfback we've ever seen. But to reiterate, I know he won't win MVP. The NFL has made it a quarterback's award. But there isn't one quarterback in the NFL that I believe is outperforming Jonathan Taylor, and that is why he is my MVP.
That's a good point that you bring, Cal. Our game of the week for Week 8 will be the 3-3-1 Dallas Cowboys on the road to take on the 5-2 Denver Broncos. Despite Dak's stellar play this season and the Cowboys having the top offense, I'm leaning the Broncos in this matchup. Denver's defense will have its hands full trying to cover Dallas's dynamic duo of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But I think the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain, can contain at least one of the two. I don't think that the young Dallas offensive line will be able to handle the Broncos' fierce pass rush led by Nick Bonito. Bo Nix and the offense will look to build off their momentum in Week 7. Broncos winning a close one. Who you got, Cal?
Well, I'm going to have to take the Dallas Cowboys here, Jalen. Yes, the Broncos' performance last week was unlike anything we've ever seen. But the Cowboys also had a pretty impressive victory last week. Sorry, Zander. And Dak's been playing unbelievably well as of late. I think he'll keep it up this week, and I have the Cowboys winning 34-24. That's all we've got for you folks this week. Thanks for tuning in to the 2-Minute Drill, and we'll see you next week. Now, it's time for Austin McConnell in the Hot Lap.
Welcome back to the Hot Lap, the student section's NASCAR segment. I'm Austin McConnell. This week and every week until the end of the season, I will be breaking down and previewing the NASCAR races of the week. This past weekend, the Cup Series hit the high banks of Talladega, and it was a chaotic 400 miles of tight racing. Chase Briscoe secured the win after getting some help from his teammate Ty Gibbs on the final lap. Briscoe also got some help from rival driver Kyle Larson running out of gas on the final lap of the overtime restart. Briscoe's win secured him a spot in the Championship 4, where his teammate Denny Hamlin already sits. Joe Gibbs Racing has 2 out of the 4 spots in the championship already locked up. And as we head to Martinsville this week, the last race in the round of 8, we have to keep our eyes on Team Penske. Lots of points down and not technically mathematically eliminated, but it feels like a must-win for Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. As for Chase Elliott, it is must-win for him, as he sits minus 62 points below the cut line. The maximum amount of points a driver can make during a race is 60. Can Team Penske or Chase Elliott pull off the upset and win their way into the Championship 4? I believe they can. But they're going to have to get through Joe Gibbs Racing's third car, Christopher Bell, and 2 stud Hendrick Motorsports drivers in Kyle Larson and William Byron to do so. 2 spots left, 1 race to go. Who's going to make up the top 4 in Phoenix next week? We'll find out Sunday at 2 p.m. from Martinsville. That's all I've got from the track today. Be sure to take a lap with me next week as we talk about the Championship 4 even more. Now for some real tweets versus fake tweets.
Alrighty, let's do some real versus fake tweets. Le'Veon Bell tweeted, "Every time a bird poops on my car, I eat a plate of wings on the front porch to show them what I'm capable of." Is this real or is this fake, gentlemen?
I love some wings. I don't blame him for eating them. I'm going to say...
What?
What?
Why was that your opening line?
I just like wings.
Continue.
Can a brother not like wings? I like wings.
God forbid Austin like wings.
Le'Veon Bell likes wings. I'm going to say it's real. I think Le'Veon Bell tweeted it.
Yeah, I mean, Le'Veon Bell definitely tweeted that. If it wasn't for his former teammate, Antonio Brown, then he would be CTE final boss. So Le'Veon Bell definitely cooked on that. That's a real tweet.
Yeah, let's hear your answer, smart guy.
Just so I don't have to agree with
Terrible.
what Austin just said, I'm going to say it's fake.
That's it?
Alrighty, guys, that tweet is actually real. Austin and Cal, you guys got it. Xander,
Let's go.
maybe better luck next time.
Maybe.
Alrighty, our next tweet is by Kevin Durant.
Oh.
Scarlett Johansson, I will drink your bathwater. Guys,
Can I start?
is this real?
Yes, this is real. I've seen this one.
I've also seen this one before. This is a real tweet.
Okay, it's Scarlett Johansson, not Hannison. But
Johansson.
yeah, I mean, it's
And Calvin agrees.
Yeah, it's real.
Guys, that tweet is indeed real. You got it.
Over there.
Alrighty, we're on number 3. The Rock tweeted, "Woke up at 4 a.m., ate 17 eggs, accidentally flexed too hard, and broke my bed. Happy Monday." Guys, what you think?
Happy Monday.
I think I'm gonna say it's real because the Happy Monday is the thing that sold it for me. I was definitely gonna say no, but I feel like ending a tweet like that with Happy Monday is something that The Rock would absolutely do. So I'm saying yes, it's
Can
real.
I ask a clarifying question? Is it hashtag Happy Monday or it just says Happy Monday?
Just says Happy Monday.
That's awesome.
I feel like this is kind of one of those tweets that has like a ton of exclamation points in it after like every sentence.
Different bunch of emojis. In
Just
there,
like
too.
bringing
He's
the
got
energy,
The egg emoji.
yeah.
He's got the sun emoji. He's
I'm
got
not-
the muscle
yeah.
emoji.
I'm gonna agree with Calvin. I'm gonna go real.
I don't think we get three real ones in a row, and I'm going to give producer Emma some credit and say that she wrote that one.
You're thinking too much into it, dude.
Guys, Austin, Cal, you're wrong. It is fake. Good job, Zander.
Thank you.
Number 4, Post Malone tweeted, "Is meatball a fruit?" Wow. What do you think?
What?
I don't know.
Who wants to start? That's got to be fake. I think that's 100% fake. I know
hope
Post
it's
Malone
fake.
has dealt with some substance use issues before, but he's still a smart guy. I don't think he's asking if a meatball is a fruit. So I'm gonna say fake.
I'm gonna say it's fake because I don't want it to be real. It would make me really worried for that man's well-being.
I'm going to say fake too because I'm going to go down with my boys if it's real.
Alrighty, guys. You're wrong. That tweet is
He tweeted that for real?
real. Post Malone did
no.
tweet that.
Wow. I had a lot
Number
more faith in
5,
Post Malone.
we've got Tom Brady. He tweeted, "Just saw someone wearing a retired, not expired shirt. Gonna need that in 3 colors. Is that real or is that fake?"
Retired.
I don't know
not
because it's
expired.
Emma and it's Tom Brady.
That's
You
tough.
think she kind of just threw his name in there because the Pats fandom?
I don't know.
Like she definitely wanted to
My
include
thought
a Tom
process
Brady.
is she was like, let me find a real tweet. Let me go to my favorite person in the whole world, Tom Brady. And she probably scrolled for a while. So I'll say it's real because that is some corny stuff that Tom Brady would say.
Like, I don't actually know how active Tom Brady is on Twitter, but I do love your thought process there, Zander. So I'm going to have to agree with you and say that Tom Brady did tweet that.
Yeah, I agree. It was corny. I don't think it was that corny. I'm going to say Tom Brady did not tweet that.
Well, if your name's Austin McConnell, you got it right. That tweet is indeedly fake. That wraps up our show for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to the Student Section Sports Show on SGTV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at SGTV at USC. To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtv at usc.com. Alongside Zander Collins, Calvin DeLude, and Austin McConnell. I'm Jalen Long, and we will see you here next week on
The Student Section.